where I'm sitting, so we can all see and hear you, and Randy can see and hear you, and limit your sharing to 4 minutes, please. And if you go over this, I'm gonna indicate with this bit of paper to remind you to gently wind up what you're saying, so as we can hear from as many people as possible. And also, please keep in mind that this meeting was not created to have just another meeting, but to create an atmosphere where we might have an experience of connecting with our higher power right here, right now. True humility and an open mind can lead us to faith, and every AA meeting is an assurance that God will restore us to sanity if we rightly relate ourselves to Him. So the meeting is now open for sharing, so please come and share with us.
Oh, you didn't turn the computer.
Okay, I'll go first. Shall I turn that round, Randy, so you can see the speaker? I think that's right. Hi, my name's Claire. I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Claire.
Thank you so much, Randy. That was amazing. I didn't make it last week because I was on holiday, and it just, there's a bit. I read pages 60 to 63 every morning, and there's a bit that says, just at the top of page 63, about, if we rightly relate ourselves to our higher power, remarkable things will happen. And that has been my experience. And sometimes they're quite large, remarkable things, and sometimes they're little, remarkable things. But they're really remarkable. They're really, really remarkable. I'll just give you an example of a little thing. I was going on holiday and I wanted to be able to do online meetings, and there was only Wi-Fi in the reception areas, but I can use my data abroad. And I was helping another fellow alcoholic just before I went, 2 days before I went. And one of the things on my list to do was to figure out how to make my phone a hotspot. And the person I was helping, who'd come round to my house to do some step work, wanted to show me something on the internet, and my Wi-Fi was playing up, so she's got the same phone as me. So it was done for me. I didn't need to control and micromanage the world, and that's just one little thing, but it seems to happen all the time. I've got to say, and I'm not just being I'm being honest. And sometimes I feel more vulnerable sharing the good stuff than the bad stuff. The bad stuff can sometimes feel easier. But I had the most blissful time with my 18-year-old, celebrating the end of her exams. We went to Sardinia for a week on a horse riding holiday. And from start to finish, it was just way beyond my expectations. And I think I went with this mindset, right? She's just slogged for 3 years. She had a year of her GCSEs. She did the International Baccalaureate, which is hardcore. And she took chemistry and biology at higher levels because she wanted to go to medicine. She's been slogging. So I went on this holiday, and my whole motivation was that she had a great time. I've never quite seen it with such clarity. That if I'm thinking about someone else and trying to make their experience better, I'm relieved of the bondage of self entirely. It was just, my head was quiet. I was relaxed. I was, I was with my higher power because I was thinking about someone else, being loving. I was in love. I was in loving. And it was just wonderful. And then I get back and my mum's staying. And I tell you, I just finished on this. She's leaving tomorrow morning. The message in it is she hasn't got a clue how much she's fucking irritated me. She doesn't have a clue. She doesn't have a clue, but boy, God does.
Come on.
Hi, my name's Josh. I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, John.
Thanks, Randy.
Hi.
Thank you for what you shared. It's really very, very much made me feel a lot clearer. You know, every time I come to this meeting, I get, I feel it's very important to me, this meeting, because I feel that you're kind of like a bit like the sage for me, you know, and it's a new way of looking at the program of recovery, and I've tried to you know, have an open mind and to turn my will and my life over to the care of God, and it is not easy, and prayer is sometimes not easy. It's a hard thing to do, and you know, sometimes I get it, and then the next minute I'm back in alcoholism and not working or thinking about how can I best serve the Lord today. Thy will, not mine, be done. And but having said that, just getting up every morning and getting on my knees in the first thing and just saying, God, can you help me today not to drink, and can you help me to find you in my heart and to try and do your will. And I know I didn't say oh, I'm going to slip out of it, but sometimes I do. Doing other suggestions that my sponsor has asked me to do every day really help. You know, reading the Just for Today card, reading some literature, calling my sponsor every day between a certain time, and you know, praying again at the end of the day and thanking my higher power for staying sober, and writing a gratitude list of the things that and those things, those simple suggestions have kept me sober today, and I thank God for that, because that is what is working for me. And I pray that I find the prayer easier. And but I thank you, and I thank you for sharing.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you.
Come on.
Hi. Thank you very much for your I guess it's a chat. I've never been in this meeting before, so I walked in trying to work out, and everyone was like worshipping a new AA god, which they are, it seems. So,
Thank you.
That was good. And I was really interested. You know, I was really. What's your name? Sorry, I forgot that bit. Hi, my name's Mark. I'm alcoholic.
Hi, Mark.
Forgot that bit. It's a big ask. I don't really talk in meetings that much. I used to in my early days, because you can shut me up. Now you decide to give it a go. So it's quite a big ask just to sit up in the front. But I was listening to you. It's a new meeting, so I'm trying to connect. And I guess two parts of it that really stood out for me. One, you were talking about the critical mind, and I'm so aware of my critical mind. I'm in a new relationship at the moment, and my critical mind wants to keep me alone, single, you know, and miserable. And it's amusing to watch it now, as I guess I'm starting to grow up and see it for that. My girlfriend said, you know, what's going on in your head? And I just thought to myself, the last thing you need to know is what's going on in my head. What's going on in my heart? Maybe I'll tell you that, right? But what's going on in my head? No one needs to hear that. I don't need to hear it. You definitely don't need to hear it. So it's interesting to see it in that way. I feel different around it. You know, I feel more humble around it. I don't take it as seriously. I just see it happen. I'm hoping that's a big change. It will be a daily daily process. The other thing that, we were talking about step one, and I've been sober for a long time, and I guess I'm really aware. It was a good friend. My brother's been slowly dying of MS since I got sober, and his close friend, he was an alcoholic and an addict and all the rest of it, and then he got this illness, which meant that ceased to be his biggest illness, which is impressive in a way. And his friends, were the same as my friends, a lot of them, and I've been watching one of them in and out over those 16 years. And I'm sort of taking him to meetings at the moment, and I can see after all this time, he's just not quite there yet. And it struck me as you were talking, that as you were talking, I was thinking, I'll tell him this, and I'll tell him that, and maybe I'll tell him that. Maybe if I do this, that. And it struck me as you were talking, there's fuck all I can do about it. I can just take him to meetings and hope that he gets it before he dies, because it's as simple as that. All I can do is hope that he gets it before he dies, try and say the right thing, but at the same time know that there's nothing I can really say, until he wants to see it. And that's painful. When you talk about a mental illness, that is that is what we got. Trying to cure our illness with our mentally ill mind is what we all try and do. And until he gets that, till he sees it, till he sees it's not their fault, his fault, that's fault, whatever else's fault, that it's him, he's not going to get it. And that's really sad. But anyway, I need that.
Thanks, Mark.
My God, I'm very nervous. I don't know why I'm so nervous. Wow. Celebrate 4 years. It's massive for somebody who couldn't get 4 minutes in the beginning. And my mind is telling me all day, it should have been 8 years. It should have been 7, 8 years. I'm Rosie. I'm an alcoholic. To celebrate 4 years. Yeah. Condemn myself because it should have been 8, but it is 4. And that's why it's so apparent to live in the here and now, to ground myself right now, because all that matters is right now. Today, Rosie's 4 years sober. Just for today I'm sober. All it is just for today. I had a manic weekend. I had an anniversary of one of my brothers that died. A lot of the illness around me, the family. But just to be able to look at myself and keep myself present and grounded, it's amazing. The stuff I've learned in this meeting, I started coming here, I think it was just 2 years ago, just before my first brother died. And the stuff I've learned in here, and how to keep stuff together just by keep living the moment and the here and now, is absolutely amazing. And every evening when I used to go home, I used to try and think of what Evan used to say. With the breathing, breathe God in, then breathe God out. So when I breathe him out, he's all around me. So if I have him inside me and I have him all around me, it's like my little glow, my little circle. It's not easy to do it all the time. But most of the time when I do it and I remember to do it, it works. And when I keep it simple, it works. And today in my life, I've got a beautiful daughter that's coming up 21 in July, and because of the people in these rooms and because of these rooms, I'm part of her life, and God willing, I'll be part of her 21st birthday when it comes up. Mm-hmm. And, these are the gifts. These are the gifts for me as an alcoholic mother in recovery, that came from alcoholism, and swore I would never ever do that to my daughter, what my mother did to me. Mm. But by the grace of God, I found recovery, and I found fantastic people. My best friend is in the room. I've been through a lot together. Just by sticking in these rooms and not giving up my seat, realising actually, how much it's worth and how much it saved my life, and not just my life, my daughter's life. She has peace of mind today. She can get up, she can go to her little job, she's in her little relationship, she can move along. And not to cross-share, care about her and not care so much about myself. Give a little bit back, and then I have a little bit of peace for it. Randy, thank you so much for everything that you share each week. You've helped me a lot. Thank you, everybody in the room.
My life's pretty amazing at the moment. And, it's really it's not down to me, because when I'm trying to figure it out or when I'm trying to control everything, I just jettison everything out of my life. Everything. Opportunities, friendships, relationships, everything. But when I'm practicing these principles to the best of my ability, I seem to become attractive, and I start attracting possibilities and relationships and friendships and opportunities to come to me. And all I have to do is just practice the principles, which the solution is a relationship with a power greater than myself. It's just talking to God all the time. Yesterday I got married.
Congratulations.
Yesterday morning, my girlfriend at the time, she wanted some flowers to hold. She didn't really last minute, so she sent me out to try and get some flowers for her to hold. I walked into this florist, and my girlfriend had sent me a picture of something, because I haven't got a clue. So I said to the lady, I wonder if you can help me. I'm getting married soon. My girlfriend sent me out. She just looked at me and said no. And so I'm an alcoholic. I'm a raging alcoholic. I'm not I'm a fucking maniac. I love what Chuck C says. I've got the mind of a savage. Basically,
That's right.
What goes through my mind, that guy, that American Psycho film. When a guy goes around poking the eyes out of homeless people and stuff. I can identify with that. Because I don't actually do it, but I think it. You know what I mean? That's how I am. I love what Chuck C says. I have the mind of a savage. And so I was, but it didn't overtake me. The reason why I'm talking about it is that I was able to just, there it is. No, there it is. There's resentment coming. I could just see it and look at it. And I knew what the solution was, and the solution was to talk to God, and I just okay, it's not meant to be, God. You want me to go somewhere else to do it. It's not a problem. It's not. I'm supposed to be somewhere else. This isn't where I'm supposed to be. So I went to another shop and I found this really nice lady there who just said, "Yeah, fine, come back at 9:30 and I'll have a bunch of flowers like that for you." But the reason why I mention it is, I would have walked away from that situation with a raging resentment. It would have probably ruined at least my morning, if not the whole day for me. And I would have, and it didn't. By the time I got into my car, I was over it. And that's because I was practicing a program of recovery. And the experience, like my birthday was the day before my wedding. And I spent my birthday meeting, I got my girlfriend's relatives at Heathrow. Nobody even mentioned it was my birthday. It was none of that, and I didn't get any resentments or anything. Before I know it, I'm driving around about 8 Filipinos in my car, and they want to go to Tower Bridge and Buckingham Palace and fucking here and there and after but as I identified with Clay, I was just being selfless. I wanted my girlfriend to have a good experience. I wanted her to. And the same with the wedding yesterday. It wasn't about me. It wasn't about me at all. It was about the greatest pleasure I got from the whole experience was that to see this my wife Jane, and I've never seen her look so happy. I've never seen her look so happy. And I've been married twice before this, and it was never like that. that wasn't what was going on at all. It was very much about me, you know. And so anyway, I've gone over my 4 minutes, but I'm very grateful. Alcoholics Anonymous is just literally a gift from God. I am a raging alcoholic, and I should be alone and angry and frustrated and drunk, and if not that, dead. And here I am with a chance at a new life and a beautiful young wife. I just can't believe it. It's just a miracle. It is literally a miracle. So, thanks for you all for showing up and helping me, and all the alcoholics that I've met in Alcoholics Anonymous that have shown me what to do, and especially the ones that have shown me what not to do. Thank you very much.
My name's Luke, I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Luke.
Hi, Randy.
Hi.
Just wanted to come up and just say hello, really. You know, when I listen to you, like, I really do feel like it restores me to sanity. And it made me kind of feel that, like, actually, I must be working these steps because it doesn't feel like totally new information. It actually feels like, it feels familiar, and it feels like, but what strikes me is like how quick I forget this stuff. It's unbelievable, you know what I mean? And then I think I still know it, and I think I'm still applying it, but I'm not. I go right back into using this thing. And so when I hear you, it's just like, oh God, yeah, like I forgot again. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, and I love this meeting, and like the sharing has been really great. And my alcoholism tells me that I need to top it, or at least equal it. You know what I mean? But I don't have to. And, you know, my way doesn't work. And I actually feel really spiritually connected at the moment because I've been going through a painful situation. Several, you know, all at the same time. And what I've noticed is that I'm really starting to really desire a simple life. And that's amazing from where I've come from like drugs and alcohol and, you know, that lifestyle. I feel like I'm in the middle of changing, and it feels weird, but also right. And I don't know if that makes sense, but, you know, I'm at the moment, I've kind of lost the desire for anything except for inner peace, really. And, you know, in my first year and a half, I bought a lot of clothes. You know, I was just, I don't, all I'm really seeking now is to just feel okay and to have that kind of inner peace. And I just, you know, I need to hear people like you because I got the same mind. And there's something really, like, amazing about that and really comforting. And I don't wake up in the morning and think, oh, hallelujah. Do you know what I mean? I don't, you know, my first thought is, oh, fuck. You know what I mean? And it really is. I'm not just saying that to relate to you. That's the, you know, absolute truth. And so I need to treat it. And so I do pray and meditate every morning, you know, and it kind of sort of sets me up. But, you know, I've got out of a situation that really wasn't good for me, and it was as a result of me kind of trying to push sort of, you know, like a square into a circle. Do you know what I mean? And it was just a real reminder of actually, I know that I'm going to be okay, and I don't need to make everything happen. I can actually allow things to happen, and that is where the peace is. Do you know what I mean? That's where you know, we can slip from time to time, I guess, but, you know, it's amazing that, also, amazing that I came here because I wanted to stop drinking and taking drugs, and I've got that, but now I fully know that I've got alcoholism, and I need to remember the things on a daily basis that you talk about, you know what I mean, and not try and, you know, it's like, for my work, I have to like travel to a lot of different random places for castings, and it took me years to accept that Google Maps knows a better route than I do. Like it really, really did. Like I was always like, I know how to get there, I know the best route, and then I would always be late or miss the casting. And it's like, even just as simple as that, it's just like, I don't know. I just got to accept that, I don't know what's best for me. And my head will constantly go back to, you do know what's best for you. You need to make this, that, and a third happen. Mm-hmm. And it's such a comfort to remember all the things that you talk about, and that it's I don't need to do that. You know what I mean? And then I end up where I'm supposed to be, and actually a lot happier when I'm trying to control everything. Anyway, great to see you again, Randy. Really grateful I know about this meeting, and thanks, Olivia.
Thank you.
Hey Randy, hey, I'm an alcoholic, my name's Scott.
Hi, Scott.
It's very good to be here. I was very happy when I realized that I could actually make this meeting again tonight. The first step, powerlessness and surrender. And in my time, I've embraced it and rebelled against it. I'm really glad you talked about suicide and the mental anguish, because before I picked up, I was suicidal. It saved my life at a young age, and then it took away the life that it saved. And then that's a really shitty place to be, where the thing that saves your life no longer is working. Mm-hmm. And just sitting here, I've been, celebrating 4 years. I have a card at home from when I celebrated 4 years, and it was from a cousin of mine who was struggling to get sober, and we'd go to meetings sometimes. She lived outside of New York, and I was living in New York at the time, and she wound up killing herself shortly after my 4th year. And for a while I wondered, why did I get this, and why couldn't she? She had more to live for than me. She had 3 kids, she had a nice house. I was just, a single guy doing his thing in New York, and I don't ask that question anymore. I'm grateful that I got it. I spent a good part of last week with a guy who's been in and out of the rooms for a number of years, and he knows so much more about AA than I ever would. Mm-hmm. I learned a ton about the history, the foundation, the formation, the resentments, the politics. And it doesn't really matter, it really makes no difference. The only difference that matters is when I walked into my first meeting, I identified with that speaker's feelings. And he found a solution here. And I believed him that my solution was here. And it took me a long time to fully accept the depth of what it means to have a peculiar mental twist. And the peculiar mental twist that I suffer from loves me to be alone. Mm-hmm. Wants to put me into a dark space. And I found myself judging myself because there was some disruptions during the meditation, and I started smiling at them. And I negatively judged myself for smiling at that. Right? What the fuck's your problem? You should be mad. And that's crazy. I'm finding that I'm fucking mental, but the more I avail myself to tapping into the spirit of the universe, to a higher power, to my God as I don't understand it, the easier things go. And I'm faced with a fair amount of uncertainty. And in 3 weeks' time, I'll be moving back to the States for 7 or 8 weeks. And I don't have a place to live yet and all that other stuff. And I'm actually not even remotely worried about that. I'm more worried about what my life is here and what my kids are, and how my kids are, what my wife is going through. And And that's progress for me, you know, because 2 weeks ago I was resenting my wife for the position I'm in. And today I'm not feeling that way. Actually, 4 days ago I was resenting her for that. When I was in 2 weeks, I'm not that, you know. Today I'm not feeling that. And I'm just going to leave it here. Like, years ago I read, I don't know, it's a J.D. Salinger book where, like, maybe it was Franny and Zoe, and, like, one of them was just saying this prayer over and over again, right? Like, just repeating this prayer. And I went through a period of 6 months where I, like, literally said that prayer all day long, like, because I'm an obsessive drunk. But, like, it kind of is amazing when you just live in subjugation like that, when you give yourself over to just doing that. Like, when I do that, it's amazing. Like, don't fight. Just breathe. You know, the next thing will reveal itself. And let's keep walking. You know, let's walk the path together, because it's all we got, you know. Anyway, it's good to hear. It's good to be here. And it is a really surreal experience, by the way, with the fucking screen in this room. It's kind of wild.
Thanks.
It doesn't do my ego anymore. Hey Randy, good to see you. Yeah, good to hear the message of recovery, and it is a special message for me. And my ears prick up when I come to this meeting about. I thought you would know. Yeah, I'm Spencer, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi,
It's
Spencer.
something very different. But tomorrow I could be somebody different as well. But anyway.